Vanakkam, hello, welcome to the Heritage of Tamil course lecture series. We have come to the last few topics of the Unit 1. So it has been a long journey, I know that. Anyway, so we now come to the last few topics, development of modern literature in Tamil and the contributions of Bharatiyar and Bharatidasan to Tamil literature. So we will talk about them in this video. So this unit one served as a Hawkeye view for the Tamil literature, the history of Tamil literature as well as the history of Tamil culture, Tamil Nadu itself. We captured in a Hawkeye view, and so it's very apt to end that with the development of modern literature in Tamil. So as we have been seeing, Tamil literature is about some 2000 to 2500 years old, and it has a very long and continuous tradition there. But until the coming of Europeans, all these were in a classical sense, so they are all developing in their own way. But once we encountered the Europeans somewhere in the 16th, 17th century, and once we are introduced to the modern technologies the Europeans have developed, especially the technologies in printing, that changed the course of Tamil literature in a very drastic way. So we will capture that, and that is the starting point of the development of modern literature in Tamil. So when we say modern literature, it's set apart from all the 2000 years of traditions. But of course, it is not entirely different from the 2000 years of tradition. We are also adapting those traditions into the modern times. So the modern literature of Tamil is influenced and inspired by European trends and technology. So starting somewhere around the beginning of the 18th century or 17th century also you can say that. Now if you quickly summarize the difference between the ancient and modern literature, the ancient literature was mostly in verse form. If you look at all the text written some 300 years before, all of them invariably will be in the verse form except for a few commentaries. So we get prose only in commentaries for those verse form text. But modern literature is mostly in the prose form. So everyone is now writing in prose form. In fact, there is this dictionary by Reverend Winslow. In that preface, Winslow mentions if you ask any Tamil to sing a song, they'll be able to do that, right? Even compose and sing immediately. But if you ask them to write a paragraph, then they are not able to do it. That is the case of Tamil people some 100, 150 years back. But then it changed with the advent of the modern literature. And the ancient literature is aimed at the learned people. Education was a privilege. It's not given to all. In the sense, the basic education was there. People were all able to read and write and all those things, basic mathematics and all those things. But education like Tulkapiyam or Sangha Ilakyam, that is not for everyone. Everyone cannot access it. Even now, that is the case. Even now, an average Tamil cannot go and read Tulkapiyam and understand what Tulkapiyam says in a complete manner. So it is it requires a lot of training. So you have to go and put yourself with a teacher and then learn that in a systematic way. So that is aimed at the learned, and learning that is a privilege at that time. But modern literature aims at the masses, and it's a basic right. Education is a basic right, and every text is available to everyone. So as I've been saying, everything is available in the internet. Anyone can have access, right? So there is no problem in that. And in the olden days, the manuscripts were all made of palm leaves. So we had Ole Chodihal, palm leaf manuscripts, which are handmade, and so there are only a few copies available. So for example, if there is a school in olden days in Tamil Nadu, I'm talking about 1000 years back, if they are teaching Tirukural, there might be one or two copies of Tirukural. So if you want your own copy, you have to sit down and write from that copy down from that manual. So typically it's called the Padi Edithal, copying down from a manuscript, a palm leaf manuscript. So only a few are made. So even an entire university will have one or two copies of them. So they are all very rarely available. But now after printing presses, everything is available. So we have very cheap books are available, right? So books are available to everyone, and we have thousands of copies. Anything people print, they print them in hundreds and thousands. So they are all available. And one thing is the palm leaf manuscripts are very fragile. So even well maintained, they will last for about 150 years, maximum 200 years. But when used, okay, when every day it's taken and read, or if you put them like in a museum, they can last for some 300 years. After that, because that's a organic thing, so it will eventually deteriorate. Whereas these bound books, even though they are made from wood, they are treated, chemically treated, so they last almost for eternity. So if you maintain them, they can last for eternity. And especially today we have digitalization, so everything is digitalized. And so Tolkapiam or Etutogay, now we are going to not lose them anywhere. So they are going to be there for eternity. So that's another advantage of the modern technology. And these ancient texts were passed down through a particular lineage. So teacher learner lineages, teacher student lineages were there, Guru Shishya Parambarai. But now these modern literature are available to the public. But of course, some people think that ancient pattern was very good. And when a teacher says, when a student says they have learned something, they have definitely learned that completely. So, people used to say padam, the word padam. Padam means both the text as well as the process of learning that. So, padam seidal, padam கேட்டல், எனக்கு பாடம் இருக்கு. People will say, உங்களுக்கு ராமாயணம் தெரியுமா? எனக்கு ராமாயணம் பாடம் இல்லைங்க. சிலப்பதிகாரம் தெரியுமா? ஆமாங்க, எனக்கு சிலப்பதிகாரம் பாடம் இருக்கு. People will say that. which means I have learned Silappadiharam from a teacher. This is Padam Ketal. When people say that they learned, they'll be able to recite the entire Silappadiharam, and you can ask anything about Silappadiharam, they'll be able to answer. That is how that teacher student lineages were there. They focused on complete learning. But now modern learning, it made public everything, the access are made easy. Anyone can access anything, right? I can go to the internet and learn Silappadiharam, no problem. But am I having such a depth of knowledge in Silappadiharam? That's a question mark. So we should address that, right? Anyway, and the olden text, because the texts are frequently copied down, made into copies, there is a good possibility that the text variants appear. So when people are writing down, typically what happens is when they make a copy, so one person will sit with the original manuscript or the original copy they have, and then there will be some 4 or 5 people sitting with palm leaves ready to write copy down. So this person will read from this original manuscript, and the other persons will copy that down by hearing that. So that is the padiyedithal process. That is how they copy down the text typically. So one should read aloud, they will copy it down, and the process will go quickly, a bit quickly. So if someone hears some word wrongly, incorrectly, they will write it as it is. And later on, if you compare these different manuscripts, then 1 or 2 words might be different. That is what we call pada bedam. So padam is the source text, and the bedam is difference. So pada bedam. So text variants are available now. When we look at the history of Uvesa or Damodaram Pillai and all, how they toiled to publish these works. So Uvesa, when he is publishing Purananuru or Pattupattu, he is collecting so many manuscripts, about some 10, 20 of them, and he sat down and compares all of them, and then he comes to conclusions about which is the best source text or something like that. So that is there. Pada Bedam is there, which may future may lead to confusion and all. And there could be a lot of possibility for interpolations, which we call idai chorugal. So there is one text, source text. After some hundreds of years, some poet who taught the text or who read the text, he may be writing his own verses and then adding to the text. It's not, we are not saying he is damaging the text. May not be a malign intention, a mal intention, but still they do that. The people may think that something is missing here, so it would be better to add. Or as a teacher, so if a teacher is teaching Tulkapiyam, as a teacher, he would have made his own notes, right? In his own copy of Tulkapiyam, he would have made his own notes. But those notes in a later day edition have become as a source material. So those might be appearing as idai chorugal, right? So that those idai chorugals are quite common in the old sources. But now when we come to modern editions, there is no possibility of that, because even today we have digitalization of everything. So everything, we have versions of them. We know what is the original version, what is the modification. So any idai chorugal, we will be able to identify that. So these editions are standards. They become standards. Not only that, if you look at the history of the script itself, so for every era, the script have evolved. Tamil script or any script for any language that are evolved. But the modern technology, the printing technology, so people have been writing, copying down. So different materials, different writing tools. So that would have changed the text format, the script structure slightly, ever so slightly, and led to the evolution. But as we are using printing technology, we are using the typefaces, font, we are calling them, right? Typefaces. Now they become standard. So no matter how many books you print with them, all the letters will appear, are going to appear the same. So the digitization, the digitization or this printing technology also brings in a standardization, not only in the text but also in the script. So now the Tamil script is no more evolving. So you have a history of Tamil script from Brahmi, Tamili to the Vatteluthu, the Pallava Eluthu, Pallava Tamil, Chola Tamil. So we know by looking at the old inscriptions, we'll be able to, experts will be able to tell the time period of the inscription. So by looking at this, they will say, okay, this is from 11th century. The ka appears like this. So this is 11th century inscription. But now we cannot tell that. So now all these books we have, the modern printing technology, we cannot look at the font and say, okay, this is from 1700, this is from 1900. We cannot say that, because this also brings in an amount of standardization, and which is, except for a few things, which is a very good thing actually, right? And also the old text, they are quite commonly lost, because there are only a few copies and people have to preserve the copies. And if there are some natural calamity, or if the people are not frequently using the text, so there is a good chance that the text will be lost. And we have lost so many of such text. So hundreds of text have been lost for us. But now, because of the standardization, because of the modern printing technology and digitalization, this losing of the text is not there. So these are the primary differences between ancient literature and modern literature. Primarily, ancient literature were focused on niche groups, whereas modern literature focuses on en masse. So for the masses, that's very important. And here I'm trying to give a timeline of the printing history in Tamil literature. I'm highlighting the initial period, not the later period. So interesting events from the initial period. So the first book printed in Tamil was printed in Lisbon, but it was printed using the English script. So the romanized Tamil script, like our SMS script, right? So today when you say the Vanakkam to your friend, you say VANAKKM, Vanakkam, like that. The very first Tamil book was printed using the Roman script. It's called Cartila M Lingua Tamil Portuguese. So Tamil, this is a Christian book, a Christian missionary book, which is for the Tamil language from Portuguese Lisbon, and it was done, and then it was done, and then we had a important phase of Enriquez, who is a missionary and who focused on printing text in Tamil itself. So he's a missionary, and his work is to spread Christianity here. But he wanted to give the religious text in the local languages. So first he worked in Tamilnadu, in the Malabar region, so Kerala region. So they are calling that language itself as Malabar. So Malabar or Malabar Tamil, they calling that. But it's Tamil of the Kerala variant. So the very first book was printed in Tamil font itself, Tamil letters itself, by the efforts put by this great person, Henricus, is the Tambiran Vanakkam. This is Doctrina Christum in Lingua Malabar Tamil. So the Tamil language of the Malabar. Doctrina Christum, the Christian doctrines, Tambiran Vanakkam. Tambiran refers to Christ himself. Vanakkam is Tamil word, right? So praising or worshipping Tambiran. Tambiran Vanakkam is 1577. So this is considered as the first printed book in Tamil, as well as the first printed book, first printing any of the Indian language. So among all the Indian language, the first book was printed in Tamil with the Tamil script in 1577. And then we had a lot of printing happening. But of course, up to the 17th century, 1700s, people were suffering a lot to do this. They are going to foreign countries, they are going to European countries to print them, and or they are type casting, we call that. So they are creating the font faces in Tamil Nadu or in Malabar region. So they put a lot of effort to do that, and all of these efforts in the initial stages were by Christian missionaries, and the primary aim of them is to spread Christianity. So they wanted to give the doctrines in Tamil itself, so that Tamil people will be able to easily and quickly adapt to the Christian doctrines. That is the idea here. So even though they had a religious purpose primarily, they also served the Tamil language and Tamil printing. So we should be thankful to them. So the next book in 1579 is Christiani Vanakkam. So again Christian. So Tambiran Vanakkam and Christiani Vanakkam. So that's again Christian doctrine of Christina. And then Confessionario, another book. Again, the first book, Tambiran Vanakkam, is very small. It's also almost a booklet, only 16 pages long. You can go and Google search Tambiran Vanakkam. You can see the book there. So that is there. And then these are the later books are all, they are all called books. So they are all of book, a good number of pages. So Confessionario, and then 1586 we have Flos Sanctorum. So these are all by this Henrik person. And then we have Roberto Di Nobili, and about from 1677 to 78. So he printed 5 books actually. Out of the 5, 3 of them are the same book in 3 volumes. So the Catechism, Nanopatesagam. So Nanopatesagam is modern Upatesham, or advisors like that in Christian doctrines. And this is unlike the previous ones, which were simply translations of the existing doctrines. This Roberto person, he wrote his own work in Tamil. So it's not a simple adaptation or translation. He wrote his own work. That's why he's calling that as Nanopatesagam. Nano means new. So Nanopatesagam is calling that. So it's a very important thing here. So it's original work printed in Tamil. And then we also have a Tamil Portuguese dictionary printed by Anton de Rochnia. And all of these are lost, except for a few copies. None of them is available today. Tambiran Vanakkam is available, copies of them. And then around the 17th century, this is where the first printing press in Madras, the Malabar language, Tamil. Malabar, they say Malabar, but it's Tamil language only. That is what set up in Tamil Nadu, in Madras province. And then, so that is due to the effort of Bartholomew Ziegenbalg. And then we had a lot of printing happening in Tamil itself. So now the printing comes out of the shackles of the missionary, and people are printing a lot of other things. So other folklores. So people are printing for common reading. So Vikramadityan Kadai, Satamukha Ravanan Kadai. That Satamukha is Satamukha Ravanan Kadai, so Ravana. Maryadai Raman Kadai and Tamilariyum Mandai Kadai, like that. And Pururava Chakravati Kadai. Kada Manjari. Kada Manjari is a collection of oral tales, folklore tales, are all collected here. And then 1822, we have this important person, Veerama Munivar, Constanzo Joseph Besky, who again writes his own editions, own stories in Tamil, and then publishes them, prints them. So such a story is Guru Simpleton, Paramartha Guru, even though, again, this is a Christian missionary book. This Paramartha Guru story aims to defame the Hindu gurus. But as a printing history of Tamil, this is a milestone. But in religious history, is a milestone for Christians, but a black mark for Hindus, something like that. Anyway. But anyway, right. And Veerama Munivar also have written epics like Tembavani, and he has written this Chadurakarati, so dictionaries, Chasharas. So he have contributed a lot in terms of grammar, epic works, literature to Tamil. So he's a very important person in the course of history of Tamil, and he's also credited with changing some of the letters, the writing system, orthography of Tamil, so that it's more suited for the printing technology. Right, so that is also done. Some of the vowel markers, and he changed that. So that we call that as Eduthu Seerthiruttam by Veerama Munivar. So he made this orthography of Tamil more printing friendly, like that. And the Tamil Panchatantra Kadaigal were printed, and Kada Manjari, another collection of oral tales, and some of the translations from English, French stories, and missionary documents, and Aesop tales. So all these are printed. So we see a lot of printing happening, and now so by this time, so this is the beginning of the 19th century. So by this time, printing becomes a common thing in Tamil country and Madras for Tamil language. So people are all becoming more and more familiar with the print works. So reading from print works and standard, all these following these fonts and all those things. And then the printing comes to the Hindu people, the Pandit they are called. These Pandits are people, Hindu people, Hindu and Muslim peoples also, who studied from the European colleges. So there is in George St. John's Fort, there is a college, and the old form of Madras University and all. So people they have studied from the European style, and they learn the technology from Europeans, and also they import the necessary equipments from the Europes, and then they set up their own presses, and then they print on their own. So they started printing on their own, and now the printing is open for all the religions, all the sects in Tamil Nadu. So now we have this around this 1830s, we have the Pandit presses, and so 1834 we have a text called Kalvi Vilakkam, which is printed by Saravana Perumal Iyer and Vishaga Perumal Iyer. And then 1835 we have this Saraswati press by Thiruvenkadachala Mudaliyar, who is printing a lot of text. 1839 we have another Kalvi Kalanjiyam printed by Umapati Mudaliyar and his three brothers. And then 1849 we have this great person whose photo I have shown here, Arumuga Navalar. He is from Sri Lanka basically, and is a great Tamil scholar and a Saivite scholar, and he contributes a lot for printing in Tamil. So he's one of the first persons to rediscover lost literature or ancient literature from palm-leaf manuscripts and publishing them in the modern format. So he starts with Mandala Purushar's lexicon called as Chudamani Nigandu with the commentary. And the most important work is Nannul. So Nannul is a medieval Tamil grammar. Still now it's studied in Tamil schools. So the first grammar we teach our Tamil students is Nannul. Only then we teach Tolkappiyam to them. So Nannul with the commentary Kandigai Urai by Arumuga Navalar. So it was printed in 1951, and still that edition or its re-editions are still in use today, still reprinted today. Such an important work is done that. And he also printed Tirumurugatrupadai, Manivasagar's Tiruvasagam, Tirukovayar, Tirukural with the Parimelaraga's commentary. So many important texts he brought out to publication. So from manuscripts, palm leaf manuscripts to printing text. So the first person to do that is Arumuga Navalar in a way. And then this printing history continues even now and up to modern times. So we have a lot of things printed now. So now we have a very prominent printing, as well as we have a fiction, non-fiction market for Tamil across the globe. So now we have digital printing, everything, Amazon Kindle or online blogs, everything is Tamil have gone to all the places. And in this all this printing history, we should be thankful to two important persons who brought out all so many of the manuscripts. Otherwise would have lost for eternity. So one of them is Uve Saminatha Iyer, is fondly called as Tamil Tata, and another person C.Y. Damodaram Pillai. So Uve Saminatha Iyer first started his work with the Sivaga Sindhamani, which is an accidental publication work he took out. So one of his friend entrusted him with explaining the text. So the friend had a written manuscript, and he wanted to know what is what. So he entrusted the work to Uvesa, and he embarked on the journey, and without knowing, he embarked on the printing journey, which is a very unfortunate event for Tamil Thai. So Sivaga Sindhamani, and then he started doing that as a full-time work apart from his teaching in the college, in Kumbakonam College, and then later in Presidency College in Chennai. So he took up this as a full-time work of collecting manuscripts and publishing them. He went to great length to do that. So he went to so many places, he met so many people, he went to so many people so many times and collected those manuscripts. And then he sat down and read all those manuscripts, painstakingly read the manuscripts. It's not easy to read those Tamil. Those Tamil will be very different. So whatever Tamil we are used to now, for example, those Tamil will not have the pulli markers among the consonants, pure consonants. That will not have any punctuation marks. So there will be a very simple running text. So reading that is very difficult, and all the old palm leaf manuscripts will be faded also. That's such a painstaking job he undertook. So he's read so many such manuscripts, and he collected about some 3,000 manuscripts, more than that. Most of them are palm leaf, some of them are written notes. And he published 90 plus books. More important are Purnanuru, Pattu Sivaga Sindhamani, like that. He published all of those books. And without him, we wouldn't be able to know all those. So in all the previous videos, we saw about Sangam literature, post-Sangam literature, epics. So without these two people, we would have lost most of those work. We wouldn't even be knowing that such works exist, or maybe we'll only know the names of them. So we should be very thankful to these two people, Uve Saminatha and similarly C.Y. Damodaram Pillai. So he printed Veerachozhiyam, Tolkappiyam, Irayana Ragapurul, etc. So we are very thankful to these two prominent person in the printing history of Tamil language. Now, talking about the modern literature in Tamil itself. So, as we said, the modern literature focuses more on the masses, and it's sort of like a socialistic idea that anyone can write, anyone can read, like that. So, it opens up the doors to everyone. And here we start seeing the free verse poetry, Pudu Kavidai, Vasana Kavidai or Pudu Kavidai forms. So, the 2000-year-old tradition of Tamil, which are all based on the verse forms like Venpa, Asiriyappa, Virutham. But now people can write whatever they want. So there is no rules, there is no grammar for them except for the basic grammar of the language. They can write in any form. So that's called Pudu Kavidai. So the free verse poetry is there. And also it sees the modern literature in Tamil sees the development of prose fiction as well as non-fiction. And a remarkable fiction work is Pradapa Mudaliar Charitram, considered to be the first fiction in Tamil, novel as well as fiction, which is written by Mayavaram Vedanayagam Pillai in 1879. And then a lot of religious works, a lot of recovery works. So as we said, like USA, C.Y. Damodaram Pillai did. So a lot of recovery works are being done. A lot of journals, Patrikaigal, right? We call them as Patrikaigal or Idalgal. A lot of journals are there. So this modern literature really opens up the gate for a lot of possibilities, and it also brings in the history. So modern doesn't mean it opposes the history. It also enables us to know our own history. If not for these technologies, then we will not be having access to even our own history or all the traditional literature in Tamil. So we should be thankful for all the technology, the improvement. The Europeans, even though they had negative impact on the country, in this regard they have positive impact. So some of the technology they rendered to us, they had a positive impact. So we are very thankful for all those people. That is the modern literature. And then the last but not the least topic of Unit 1. So we are at the very end of Unit 1, and the last topic of Unit 1 about the two very great personalities of Tamil literature, Bharatiyar and Bharatidasan. So we'll talk about the contributions of Bharatiyar and Bharatidasan. Once again, I should say, if you should really talk about Bharatiyar and Bharatidasan, to have any meaningful conversation, we should at least spend 2 hours talking about Bharatiyar and Bharatidasan, but I'm going to do that in a few minutes. So only as a notes, right? So Bharatiyar, his given name is Subramaniam. He is born in Ettayapuram, present-day Thuthukudi district, in 11th December 1882. Now, currently, the central government is celebrating the birthday of Bharatiyar as Bharatiya Bhasha Divas, Indian Languages Day, such an honor. And his mother is Lakshmi Amma, his father is Chinnaswamy Iyer, and his wife is Chellamma. And Bharatiyar, who is Bharatiyar, if you ask? Many people will say is a poet, Tamil poet, and some will say is a freedom fighter. But Bharatiyar has a very multi-dimensional personality. He had so many other aspects to his personality apart from being a poet and a freedom fighter. So he's basically a poet, of course. He's also a writer. He's written a lot of stories, a lot of columns. He's also a journalist. He's a cartoonist. Not many people know that Bharatiyar is a cartoonist, right? And he's a columnist. So he writes columns, right? So about contemporary happenings. So he written so many columns. He at that time, without internet and all, he was able to write about what is happening in Europe and other parts of the world, in Africa, what's happening in Africa, what's happening in Europe. So he was able to gather all those news and write about them. So he was keeping abreast with what's happening across the globe, but even without internet or major technology. So such a great person he was. Of course, he's an activist, not only a freedom fighter. He was, he was a revolutionary in terms of social reforms, women empowerment, and all those things. And he's a patriot. Of course, Bharatiyar, first and foremost, is a patriot. He's a teacher. He served as a teacher, and always for many people, he's a mentor and a great teacher. So if you start listing about who is Bharatiyar, who was Bharatiyar, the list will keep on going. So many people don't know about much about him beyond that he is a poet and a freedom fighter. But we should really explore the works of Bharatiyar. You get to see a different type of Bharatiyar when you read his prose work, because Bharatiyar in poetry is a very serious person. But Bharatiyar in his prose, we can see there is a lot of aspects to him. One of the aspects I really like and enjoy is his sense of humor. So the sense of humor Bharatiyar displays in his prose, like the story Chinna Shankaran Kadai. If we read that, you can sense how humorous person Bharatiyar was. And he is also known for his linguistic prowess. He is said to have known so many languages. He mentioned that there are 18 languages in India at that time. People mistook that as Bharatiyar know the 18 languages. Bharatiyar, of course, know more than a few languages, but definitely not 18. The possible languages Bharatiyar would have known well are Tamil, definitely, Sanskrit, Hindi, Telugu, Bengali. Bharatiyar challenged Rabindranath Tagore. When Tagore got the Nobel Prize for Gitanjali, Bharatiyar was not even nominated. So Bharatiyar openly challenged Tagore, and Bharatiyar was ready to take up the challenge, the competition, write poem against Tagore in Bengali itself. So such was his Bengali knowledge. English, of course, Bharatiyar knows English well. French, he stayed a lot of time in Pondicherry to escape from the British police. So there we learned the French on that. That is also where he met this Swami Aravinder of Aravind Ashramam, and he was initiated into the Vedanta schools and all those at that point. He was also knowledgeable about Arabic, etc. And Bharatiyar, as I said, he worked in a different field. So he was a cartoonist, he was a journalist, he was a columnist, he is a writer, he is a poet. And in many of these places, he used different pseudonyms, interesting pseudonyms Bharatiyar had. So some of the interesting pseudonyms are Shakti Dasan and Shelly Dasan. So Bharatiyar used these in his prose forms and columns. So he wrote columns as Shakti Dasan and Shelly Dasan. And he also wrote columns as Tarasu. Tarasu is like, Bharatiyar wrote Tarasu. The framework for Tarasu columns is like, there is this a departmental store, a small departmental store, and the owner of the store will be talking to a customer, and there'll be Tarasu, the scale, the weighing scale will be there, and the scale will also talk, and they'll be discussing the contemporary politics, the incidents, contemporary politics, and the scale will weigh in with his opinions. See the beautiful metaphor, right? So scale is weighing in with his opinions for the contemporary politics, and Bharatiyar chose the name Tarasu. So Tarasu Kudugirar, Tarasu is saying like this, something like that. Bharatiyar, but Tarasu is Bharatiyar himself. So such interesting names and pseudonyms and personalities Bharatiyar has, and we celebrate him with various titles like Mahakavi, Mundasa Kavi, Misai Kavi. He is known for his mustache, especially being a Brahmin. He is very remarked for his mustache. Veera Kavi, he shows so much valor in his poets and all. And Bharatiyar serves as a bridge between classical and modern Tamil literature and trends, because he have written both poems sticking to the traditional forms, structures, meters, values, everything. But he also slowly, gradually brought them to the modern reader, the modern world. And so he started the Vachana Kavi, the verse, the free verse forms, free verse poetry. So he is the pioneer of Pudu Kavidai today. The free verse, blank verse forms. He is the pioneer of Pudu Kavidai today. So in many aspects, Bharatiyar is a bridge between the classical and the modern literature of Tamil. And I think, personally, I think this unit ending up with Bharatiyar and Bharatiyar is a very apt thing, because we talk about Tamil literature and then we talk about the modern Tamil literature. So mentioning these persons by name is a very important thing, because they are the bridges for the tradition and modern things. And some of the notable works of Bharatiyar, there are hundreds of songs, so they're all available in the internet, across the internet in various forms. So I really encourage you to read them on their own. I simply mentioned some of the most prominent works of Bharatiyar. Kannan Pattu, a collection of songs sung on Krishna in various themes. So Bharatiyar puts himself as a child of Krishna, as a mother of Krishna, as a wife of Krishna, as a lover of Krishna, as a student of Krishna, as a servant of Krishna. So it's a very philosophical work, but a simple work, not a very complicated Tamil. You can read and enjoy that, but you can, every time you read that, you can go to a deeper and deeper philosophical realm. That's the beauty of that Kannan Pattu. Similarly, Kuyil Pattu, another metaphorical, allegorical composition by Bharatiyar. And then Panjali Shabadam, which is a minor epic based on Mahabharata, taking a few episodes from Mahabharata. This Panjali Shabadam work is again an allegorical work for Panjali is Bharata Mata herself. So she is in shackles. So the Pandavas, the Indians, should work to bring her out of the shackles of this. We should bring independence to Bharata Mata. That is the allegory Bharatiyar sits in this Panjali Shabadam. And then we have sung numerous devotional poems, patriotic poems, philosophical songs. And these songs of Bharatiyar are all very important in reviving Tamil music. So Tamil music, somewhere in the medieval time, it transferred to Telugu Kirtanais. So anyone learning classical Tamil, classical music, even in Tamil Nadu, they would be only taught through Telugu Kirtanais. But when people wanted to revive that and bring back Tamil literature, Tamil Sahityam for Tamil music, then Bharatiyar's songs were the first choice. So Bharatiyar written beautiful compositions suitable to Kirtanai formats. So they were all adapted, and now Tamil music is revived, and so we are thankful for Bharati for that. And Bharatiyar himself mentioned Ragam, Talam for some of his songs. So it is also there. And he is also, as I said, is also a writer. So there are also prose compositions by Bharatiyar like Navatantra Kadaigal, Chinna Shankaran Kadai, which I mentioned. So they're all beautiful works, but some of them are unfinished because he died at a very young age. So Bharatiyar died about some 30 years old in November in 1921. So at a young age he died. So otherwise he'd have done so much more work. And he's also a journalist. He served as a journalist and editor for prominent magazines like Bharabharatam, Vijaya, Chakravardhini, Swadeshamitran, and even an English magazine, India. And through all of this, Bharatiyar was able to kindle the spirit of freedom fight and the freedom movement. So that is why we still consider him. We consider him as one of the prominent freedom fighters from Tamil Nadu. And as I said, he is the pioneer of the free verse forms in Tamil called as Vasana Kavidai, which later developed into Pudu Kavidai, which also inspired a lot of other people, sort of other movements. So there is a movement called the Vanam Padigal, which is the pioneering of Pudu Kavidai forms. So Bharatiyar inspired them. And he also pioneered cartoons in journals and columns, editorials, Talayangam, we call them. So Bharatiyar is a pioneer in so many aspects and so many regards. That is why I said If we really want to talk about Bharatiyar in full, we at least require some 2 hours. So I just took a few minutes to give you a glimpse of that person, spark called Bharati. His name itself contains the word Ti, which means fire. It's a great forest fire. I'll give you a spark of him. And let me finish this Bharatiyar's contributions of Bharatiyar with one of my favorite songs from Bharatiyar. Once again, if you ask me what is your favorite song by Bharatiyar, then I have hundreds of them. So I really struggled. I spent like 2 hours thinking which song should I put here. No, I will have the time to only put one song. Which song should I choose? So I thought about that for 2 hours and then come up with this song here. Why I like this song is because of the meaning of this song, the in-depth meaning, but also the musicality of the song. See, this is very, very difficult to write such a composition. Right? People will say I will write like this. No, 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 no. But you cannot match the quality of Bharatiyar, both in the words he chose and the meaning he conveys, right? And the form, the outmost structural form, the Edigai Monai of this song. He's using quick words, right? So Jnanatile Paramonatile, the Na, Edigai, Jnana, Mona, Mana, Dhana. So that Edigai is coming with each word is as a Edigai and he puts Monai. So such a musical, such a tight knit song, but with there is no compromise in the words Bharatiyar chooses here. So that in every regard, this song is the best, in my opinion. So I'll quickly read the song and give you the English translation for you. பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு. So par is உலகம், world. Our Bharat country is the best country in the entire world among all the countries. பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு. If you ask why, ஞானத்திலே பரமோனத்திலே உயர் வானத்திலே அன்னதானத்திலே கானத்திலே அமுதாக நிறைந்த கவிதையிலே உயர் நாடு இந்த பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு. So our country is best because in knowledge or in spiritual meditation, in valuable honor, manam, in food donation, donating food to others, annadanam, in Ganam, songs, music, Amudaha Nirendra Kavide, in poems that are like sweet elixir, like nectar. We have so many of those poems in Tamil. So in not only Tamil, Bharatiyar is talking about pan-Indian. So we have a lot of languages, Tamil, Sanskrit, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Bengali, Urdu, whatever you mentioned. So we have so many beautiful compositions. That's why he says Amudaha Nirendra Kavide. In all of them, our country stands tall, the best among the world. So Ganatile, Paramonatile, Uyar Manatile, Annadanatile. கானத்திலே அமுதாக நிறைந்த கவிதையிலே உயர் நாடு இத பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு எங்கள் பாரத நாடு. And there are like 4 more stanzas. I'm just using only 2 here for the want of time. Second stanza, again a beautiful one. தீரத்திலே படை வீரத்திலே நெஞ்சில் ஈரத்திலே உபகாரத்திலே சாரத்திலே மிகு சாத்திரம் கண்டு தருவதிலே உயர் நாடு இந்த பாரத நாடு. வீரம், courage, படை வீரம், military valor, நெஞ்சில் ஈரம். Even though we are very courageous, we are very valorous people, we are mighty in our military achievements and conquest, we also have the kind-heartedness, Nenjil Iram, the wit in the heart is kind-heartedness. That Bharatiyar have sung this song 100 years before, but we have seen that now all the calamities across the globe, India is able to send their forces to help them. So India is also standing tall as a very dominant military power. Also is showing kindness to others, even to our enemies. In all the calamities, all the natural or man-made calamities, we see that Indian forces are one of the first to be on spot and help them. So Bharatiyar have sung this 100 years before that. That is why he is a visionary. Teerathile, padai veerathile, nenjil eerathile, ubaharathile, helping others, ubaharam. Sarathile, saram, essence. What essence? Essence of life. Migu sathiram kandu taruvadile uyar naadu. So our country excels in all of this. So we were able to give so many texts to others like Vedams or this Tamil Tolkapiyam or Tirukural. So all these things our country is able to give to us. So that is why the Bharatam country is the best among the world. And with such enthusiasm and love for his country, Bharatiyar sings, displaying his might, prowess as a poet. So such a beautiful song. And with that same tone, we go to the next person who is very much equivalent to Bharatiyar, Bharati Dasan. And often people, when they name Bharati, the next name immediately comes to them will be Bharati Dasan. We say, when you say listing Tamil poets, we say Bharati, then immediately we'll say Bharati Dasan. Of course, the similarity in the name helps that. But this person also equally deserves a place equivalent to Bharatiyar. But the person himself, he considers himself as a student of Bharatiyar. That is why he named himself as Bharati Dasan. So his original given name is Subburatnam, Kanaga Subburatnam. His father is Kanaga Sabai. So his name is Kanaga Subburatnam. But he chose the pen name Bharati Dasan. Bharati Dasan. Dasan literally means slave. So I am a slave to Bharatiyar in a mentor way. So mentor-mentee way. He is a disciple of Bharatiyar. So Bharati Dasan. Like Bharati himself chose the titles Shakti Dasan, Shelly Dasan. Shelly is an English poet. Bharatiyar is so fond of Shelly. So he called himself Shelly Dasan. Like that, Bharati Dasan calls himself as Bharati Dasan. Subburatnam calls himself as Bharati Dasan. So his given name is Kanaga Subburatnam. He is born in Pondicherry, Puducherry. Now it's called Puducherry. It's Pondicherry. 29th April 1891. His mother is called Lakshmi Ammal. Another beauty here. Both the mother names of Bharatiyar and Bharati Dasan is Lakshmi Ammal. And his father is Kanaga Sabai. His spouse name is Parani Ammal. And Bharatidasan is also a very multifaceted personality. He was a teacher basically, and he's also a poet, a writer, an activist, so many things. And we fondly call him as Pa Vendar, king of poems, Pa Vendar, and Purakshi Kavinyar. So he's a revolutionary poet. So that is Bharatidasan. Bharatidasan is the foremost poet of the Dravida Yakkam, Dravida movement, right? So all the Dravida Kazhagam. So he is the foremost poet for them. So he was very instrumental in spreading this Dravida Kadagam among the masses. And he is also a catalyst for the growth of the self-respect movement. So the Tandai Periyar's Suyamariyadai Iyakkam. So Bharatidasan's poems and plays and works, they all were very instrumental in spreading the philosophy of this movement across the masses. So he's a very catalyst for that. And Bharatidasan is known for his love of Tamil. Like Bharatiya is a pan-Indic poet. He had a very broad vision. But Bharatidasan at that time, he thought that first of all he should liberate Tamil from the shackles of all the politics happening around the Tamilnadu. So he was a very ardent lover of Tamil language itself, and he's a fierce protector of the Tamil pride. So now today, even today, people put T-shirt like Tamilnada and all those things. But now today, people put those T-shirts without even being able to learn read Tamil. See, you see all the T-shirts they are in English because they are not able to print them in Tamil, because they won't be many of those people who wear those T-shirts will not be able to write Tamilnada in Tamil itself. But Bharatidasan is not like that. He's a great Tamil poet, but he is also a great lover of Tamil language and a protector of Tamil language and Tamil pride. So தலை நிமிர்ந்து நில்லடா தமிழ் என்று சொல்லடா தலை நிமிர்ந்து நில்லடா he said. So hey, hold your head high, say you are a Tamil people, Tamil person. That's how Bharatidasan was. And some of his notable works, again, he has a lot of works in poetry, prose form, fiction form. Also he's also a journalist. But some of the notable works are Azhagin Sirippu, about beauty, the the smile of beauty, such a poetical work. And Pandian Parisu is a minor epic, and Purakshi Kavi, another minor epic. Kudumba Vilakku, Irinda Veedu, two contrasting work. Kudumba Vilakku shows how a good household should happen, how a good house, how the um, members of a good house will behave. Irinda Veedu is the opposite of that. So how a bad household will have, bad family. So Irinda Veedu. Edirparaada Muttam, a very beautiful composition. Sanjeevi Parvadatin Saral, another very interesting love poem. Sort of a science fiction. You can say Sanjeevi Parvadatin Saral is it's like a very pioneer science fiction. You can say that. But of course, it's a poetical form, and it's a lot of plays, screenplays, short stories, etc. Once again, I'm choosing after long thought one song from Bharatidasan's work. This is from the first song of this Azhagin Sirippu. So Azhagin Sirippu, he shows the beauty in nature, captures the beauty in nature in his poetical work. So the very first song goes like this, starts like this. காலை இளம் பருதியிலே அவளை கண்டேன் கடல் பரப்பில் ஒளி புனலில் கண்டேன் சோலையிலே மலர்களிலே தளிர்கள் தம்மில் தொட்ட இடம் எல்லாம் கண்ணில் தட்டுப்பட்டாள் மாலையிலே மேல் திசையில் இலகுகின்ற மாணிக்க சுடரில் அவள் இருந்தால் ஆலம் சோலையிலே கிளைதோறும் கிளியின் கூட்டம் தனிலந்த அழகென்பால் கவிதை தந்தாள். Such a beautiful work. You can see when I read it, I'm a very bad render for its poems. But even in my bad rendition, you can see the musicality, the rhythm of the song. காலை இளம் பருதியிலே அவளை கண்டேன் கடல் பரப்பில் ஒளி புனலில் கண்டேன் அந்த சோலையிலே மலர்களிலே தளிர்கள் தம்மில் தொட்ட இடம் எல்லாம் கண்ணில் தட்டுப்பட்டால். So you can see the rhythmic flow of the song and the beautiful words in the song and the beautiful meaning also. So what he says is, I saw the women called Azhagu. So he's personifying Azhagu, beauty, as a woman. And he's saying she is present in everywhere. So in the morning sun, the rising sun, the seashore, the flood of light in the west, in the garden, in the flowers, in the saplings, she is appearing everywhere. Totta idamellam kannil pattal, tattu pattal. So wherever I go, wherever I see, she is appearing everywhere. And even in the evening, so not only in the morning, so throughout the day is seeing the beauty. So in the evening, in the setting sun, in the ruby shine, the redness of the west, the beauty is there, the Azhagu is there, and the avenue with the banyan trees and all the branches, all the parrots in the branches, she's everywhere, and she is giving me poetry. She's inspiring me to write poetry. That's what she's saying. And the Azhagu involved Kavidai Tandal. So she's inspiring me to write poetry in a beautiful way. So wherever you see, you can see beauty in nature. And this is very much equivalent to all the European poets like William Wordsworth, so Robert Frost. So if you look at, if you can very much compare Bharatidasan to all those English poets in many aspects, right? So that is how Bharatidasan have written. So with these two great people of Tamil, the great children of the mother Tamil, we will wind up this unit which talked about languages and then Tamil language and the literature of Tamil. So giving you a Hawkeye view glimpse into the literature, the ocean of literature of Tamil, and its literary history, as well as the cultural and social history of the Tamil country and Tamil people. So I was very pleased I was able to do this, and I hope these are all helpful for you. So I was also happy for all your support and comments, feedbacks, and all your likes and shares. Do please keep them coming. So here I finish with the acknowledgement to all the people who support me, all my students, all my faculty members, my colleagues, and head of the department, my management for all the opportunities, and of course, by my family for all the support. So we will continue. Don't worry, I'm not winding up the entire series. Only the unit one I'm winding up. So I'm happy that we have wound up unit one here. So thank you very much. See you all with unit two. Have a nice time.